I was thinking about that. From 93, from 1993 to 1998, there was always an Italian team in the Champions League final. Serie A in the 90s was
Yeah,
insane.
all the best players were all playing in the Serie A.
Insane.
Mm.
Just imagine 93 to 98.
Arey, just think of that Juventus team from 98, 90. You had Davids, you had Deschamps, you had Zidane, you had Del Piero, you had Trezeguet, you had Thuram. Look at that team. Look at that Milan team from the 90s. Look at that Inter team with Zanetti and all these guys.
But to think of it, the last superstar, I might be wrong here, but the last superstar who went to Serie A was Ronaldo, Al Fenomeno.
Hmm.
After that,
Yeah.
the drop off started. Probably that
No, the Calciopoli. Yeah,
To be
Calciopoli
yeah.
honest, I
scandal
mean,
killed it.
to be honest, even Cristiano went to UA. So
No,
he is
but
a
still, yeah. But at the time, Serie A was at its absolute peak. You had
mm.
Baggio, you had Vieri, you had even players like Zamorano.
I think all the so at the time, I think Danielson was the most expensive transfer. That transfer was broken by Christian Vieri when Vieri
Danielson,
moved.
is
Danielson
that
was
so?
the previous most expensive transfer. That was broken
Okay,
when Christian Vieri moved to I think Inter Milan, and the very next year, Hernan Crespo broke the same record.
yeah.
Yeah.
From
Yeah,
Parma to Inter, yeah.
yeah,
But think about it. Like now, if you think about it, all the Brazilians and Argentinians, you automatically assume that they're all going to be moving to Real Barca and the Spanish clubs. There was a time when Roma had Cafu, Roma had Emerson.
Yeah.
AC Milan had the likes of Dida and all these guys. You had a lot of these South Americans who were also, yearning to play for Italian clubs.
Alright,
yeah.
Simeone, he
That's what I'm
played for
saying.
Inter. Yeah,
Inter, yeah, all and that's usually a good indicator, right? Because
yeah.
like Brazil and Argentina are they're like a factory for talent, but now the talent actually stay there. Earlier, it was probably the Italian clubs. Now it's almost exclusively you see them going to either a Real Madrid or a Barcelona and all these clubs. So it's a big shift from some say Italy to all these clubs.
Yeah, but I mean, we of course we like our Uniteds and Liverpools, but if there is one league I would like to relive, of course we did not watch it or Serie A in the 90s, but I would have loved to watch Serie A in the 90s.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
100%.
an absolute galaxy of
100%.
Yeah.
superstars. And it did it for first of all, it was before your tiki taka revolution.
Yeah. It was all good, like
I
typical.
Football
think
at
I
its
used to. That is the only reason I used to try to watch Inter Milan whenever we got an opportunity, or if it
yeah.
ever came on TV, only because Ronaldo was
Mostly
there, right?
mostly because of
Like,
Champions
Yeah.
League, right? Yeah.
yeah, because who didn't want to watch R9 at that time? Honestly,
God. R9.
I have a lot of thoughts about R9, but I may not. This may not be a good forum considering you guys are fawning over him.
The best Ronaldo of all time.
He's not. He really isn't. I have a lot of thoughts about it, but
No,
maybe I'll.
at his peak, I don't think the only
No, he
player
was a
who
great
can match
striker,
him.
but the
Huh.
operative word is at his peak. His peak didn't last long. You think that
Yeah,
one season
because
for
of injuries, right?
Barcelona?
because of injuries, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. You can't take it as an excuse, right? That's what they say, right? That's what Charles Barkley says when talk about the NBA. The best ability is availability. Cristiano, the very reason that he scored 800 goals and all of that, you can't just say that, oh, that's because he's played for 15 years or
No,
whatever.
nobody's saying
And
that.
I'm just saying,
Cristiano
no, but
is a
people
great
talk
player.
about Ronaldo like,
Cristiano,
oh, he got injured. If he stayed at his peak, if he did this, he would have. But he didn't.
no, but
He didn't.
that's difference between the Brazilian players and a lot of other European players, right? You see someone like Zlatan Ibrahimovic,
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal player, no doubt about it. But will you rate him in the top five greatest strikers that we have seen of this era of past 30 years? We won't. We wouldn't.
Yeah,
It's a debate, right? Because I wouldn't put Ronaldo. Oops, sorry, मेरा stand ही गिर गया. Like you talk about Ronaldo, right? I also look at the fact that if you think about it, his best time came when he was at that one season at Barcelona when I think he was playing with Stoichkov. He scored all those goals. He was great at PSV. If you were to dispassionately think about his tenure in Italy, he was injured for a large portion of that time.
Yeah.
He goes to Real Madrid. He basically plays with the biggest assembly of talent over there. He doesn't win much.
But
Even
that's
when he
not
Yeah,
goes
because
there,
of
yeah.
him.
The
he
That
Madrid
is
doesn't
only
Galacticos
because of
win.
him.
hardly won anything.
He doesn't. That's what I'm saying. He didn't win much. He didn't. It's not like he took Real Madrid to Champions
But
League
he
after
scored.
Champions League and league title after league title. He didn't do that.
But but still, he scored 25 odd goals every season.
So did Rude.
But it's a different kind of a player. Rude is a different. See
Mm.
what people think about Brazilian Ronaldo is how he changed the way other strikers played at the time. Ronaldo was one of a kind.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he was.
if
So you have
you're saying that he scored, you're saying that he's scoring more goals, like Ruud van Nistelrooy, for example, or any of the other cycles that scored more goals than
what about
Ronaldo
his spell in
R9.
Barca? What about
But
his
I
spell
said
in
that
Barca?
right. That for me, that was his peak. That's what I'm saying. Him at Eindhoven and him at Barca was his peak because he was available and great.
See,
Later, he was
I
just
think.
great, but he wasn't available.
See,
And I'm not
but
saying he's a bad player. Let me
yeah,
just
of
put
course
that.
not, of
I'm
course not.
absolutely not saying he's
Mm.
a bad player. I'm saying that as great as he was, the fact that he didn't play as much as he should somewhere figure. And if somebody is using that as a thing that okay, this is why I maybe don't rank him higher than a Cristiano, I think that's fair criticism. I think so.
See, people, I think, usually like players that have that bit of magic about them.
Hmm.
See, that's why I don't know why people all of a sudden started raving about Jack Ellis. Jack Ellis was always a good player, no doubt about it. But if you draw teams the old-fashioned way that two captains pick a player and then player B, if you pick Sachin, the next captain will pick Lara. He's not going to pick Callis. He's not going to pick Dravid, or he's not going to pick Kohli. So when that happens, in that case, I think R9 is very high in that, what do you call it? That elite players with having magic, that kind of stuff.
But
Yeah.
let me throw one question to you two guys, right? Given given that you know how Ronaldo's career, like R9's career, sort of unraveled with his injuries and all of that. If you were to build a club, would you take someone with all the magic and the fairy dust and the stardust, but he's only going to be available for 20, 15 games a season? Or I give you a workhorse striker, somebody like a Rude or somebody like a Zlatan or whoever, who doesn't have the magic or whatever, but they're going to be available and they will get you maybe 70% of the goals that an R9 got at his peak. I will definitely build my team around Zlatan and Rude.
If you're asking the question, would we take R9 at his peak over Ruud van Nistelrooy at his peak, Zlatan at his peak, at their peak? There is no
Yes,
question about it.
there's no question about
Absolutely.
it. Absolutely,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm with you on that. But I'm not talking about peak. I'm talking about the
See,
entirety of
but the
it.
thing is, like, if you're talking about it in this way, that okay, there could be, oh yeah, he got more goals, he's going to get more goals and more assists, right? Look at Kevin De Bruyne's numbers over the last so many years. Even Zidane did not go anywhere near the numbers that Kevin De Bruyne put together at
Yeah,
City, right?
yeah. Right.
So
Right.
and he has driven City to titles by himself a lot of times. Would that mean that you would take Kevin De Bruyne over Zidane?
I wouldn't, but I'll tell you why. It's also because Zidane was a system player. Although he was a flair player, he wasn't a pure flair player like, say, a Ronaldo. Zidane could still play in a system because he played in a system at Juventus. When he was playing with the likes of Deschamps, when he was playing with Davids, Takinardi, all these guys. Even at Madrid, although he had a free role, he was still playing in that system. He was still playing a role. He was still doing the dirty work. You look at someone like a Ronaldo, right? I don't want to call him a. I don't want to say that he's one of those players who's not going to do anything apart from just being in that box or whatever it is. You can only have one of those players on the pitch. If I were to have a flair player on the pitch, I would pick Zidane ahead of anyone else. I'm with you on that. But he's a midfielder. I know he'll also give me two or three other things. Zidane was a nasty fucker.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
He was a
he's
nasty
going to
one.
get stuck in. He's going to do all of that. Ronaldo, apart from those step overs and goals, I don't think he offered anything else. Which is why, if you want a flair striker who's going to do all the magic stuff, fair enough. Okay. Let me sort of give you a different example. I'll take a Zidane and a Zlatan more than I'll take a Ronaldo and a just think of any other functional midfielder.
What about Ronaldinho? His peak didn't last that long either. Would
Yeah, and
you take Zlatan and
I'll put him in
Zidane
the same
over?
bracket with Ronaldo. I'll put him in the same bracket as Ronaldo.
You would take them. Oh, but that's the thing, right? Like you, when you say that Ronaldo was not available for most of his time, again, when you put Ronaldo's, like, what version of Ronaldo are you selecting for your team? If you're saying Barcelona Ronaldo, that he was there for that one season,
Yeah, Barca and Eindhoven,
he, yeah, he blows every single striker out of the water. If you
hundred
take
percent,
that
100%.
particular
Yeah,
season, if you go and say, okay, no, Real Madrid's Ronaldo, fine, maybe then you can make an argument that okay, he didn't have that many great seasons over there at Madrid. He was good, he was quite good, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, if you tell me if I would take Zlatan and Zidane over Ronaldo and Ronaldinho, I would not. I would still go Ronaldo and Ronaldinho
I'll
without a doubt.
definitely
Even
take
if
Zlatan and Zidane, 100%.
mm,
I won't even think twice about it, honestly.
No, so say I think there is a see there has always been the case. Brazilians uh, did not have a flourishing career because they hit their peak probably in their first 7 8 years, and they just after that they just started partying. That's most of them did. That's what Neymar is doing.
Yeah,
Neymar,
yeah, yeah.
we forget what a ridiculously talented player Neymar was when he was at Santos. When
Yeah.
he before he when he transferred to Barcelona, and the only reason he left for PSG because that he was advised that if you stay at Barca, you'll never be able to win Ballon d'Or because of
Mm.
Messi, which was again a fair argument. But
Yeah,
again, his peak lasted till probably till 2020.
yeah.
Yeah,
Must be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he fell off the cliff after that. Yeah.
he fell off the cliff after. He fell off the. It's not like he wasn't performing well, but he wasn't performing to the level that he used to. And that has always been the case with most South American, especially Brazilian players.
yeah,
That's not the case with French players. That's not been the case with English players. Not even Portuguese player. Luis Figo was, I think, till his quite probably before he left Real in 2005-6. Till that time, he was playing really well.
Yeah.
So I think that is the difference between cultures as well. But again, we like talking about players who have that bit of magic about them, right? So in that case, I think R9 at his best is better than any striker I have seen. Any striker I have
yeah,
seen.
I agree.
See, only player I think you can make a case for Zidane because Zidane was ridiculous, absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous. But probably of the players from what I have seen, Zidane, R9 and Messi. I think these three players are at their best were probably better than anyone that any player that we have seen. I'm not talking about going to Pele and Maradona,
Yeah.
but I think
But I'll talk about Zidane. Zidane for me, I wouldn't put him in that same bracket as R9. Zidane was a step above because he was great in terms of his flair. He was also great in terms of doing what the team needed. And at the same time, he performed at the highest stage all the time and he was nasty. He's got everything. Zidane for me is the best player that I've seen, period.
which is fair enough.
He's an
Zidane
insane
was
player.
great.
He's an insane player.
Zidane
And
was
I
great, no
put
doubt about it.
Cristiano, I don't put R9 in my top five. Like you ask me, I would
No way.
100%. I wouldn't personally. You give
Yeah.
me a Zidane, you give me a Cristiano. I'll take Cristiano for the only reason that I need a machine in my team. Sure, he doesn't have flair and all of that, but he's going to be there running for 90 minutes. He's going to be scoring goals, and I can build something around this. I can't
But I
build
would rather
something
have
around a guy
sorry.
that's only going to be available 5 minutes a game.
See, I would rather have a machine in the midfield than in front three. So that doesn't mean Ronaldo was just a machine. Cristiano
No,
is
of course. Yeah.
immensely talented player, no doubt about it. But I would rather have a machine in the midfield and some flair players, some magic
But this
in
is
front
where,
three.
you know what, as much as I hate to say it, this is actually where Messi is different. He's
Yeah,
got the best of both worlds because
both
he's
worlds. Yeah, yeah,
available.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't remember Messi ever
Yeah,
being away for like a year and getting injuries
mhm.
or letting go of his body. At the same time, he also we've obviously seen his flair. So he's actually like a perfect mix, so to speak.
Yeah. So I think Messi is the best player I have seen, best
Yeah.
sportsman I have seen.
Hard to
Messi,
argue.
I got
Hard
him.
to argue. Hard to argue.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I mean, as much as I like to talk shit about him, but hard to argue. If someone says that he's the guy, it's hard to argue. He is great, undoubtedly.